Hello, and welcome to episode 78 of Let's Talk Immigration. Today, for entertainment, we have Secretary of State Antony Blinken in a literal war zone in Ukraine, rocking out, right? So, across our lawsuits in multiple federal courts across the U.S., the Department of Justice argues that Antony Blinken is not a proper party as a defendant. Sure feels like he thinks he's a party. Anyway, that's where we'll start today. What else? So last week, Gomez DV 2020-2021 update. The Gomez Class Council filed a motion with the appeals court that we joined, Charles Cuck joined, that asked the Circuit Court of Appeals to give a quicker decision on the outcome of the DV appeals. I was really proud of the Gomez Class Council's declaration to that exhibit. I think it really captured a good summary of many of the hardships that our DV 2020 clients and DV 2021 clients are suffering. So hopefully that will have success, but courts move slow. I don't have to tell you all that. So we'll have to hang out and find out whether the government opposes that motion. Maybe they will file something, but not really oppose it because they want this to be resolved too. I think I mentioned this last week. There was a case the Monday before last, before the circuit court, including Judge Henderson, where the government actually reminded the court that the good luck matter was pending. So I think it's important not only to the DV 2020-2021 clients and like the class members and stuff that there's resolution. I think the Biden administration also wants resolution, but they don't want to withdraw the appeal, right? They want to continue fighting diversity visa applicants to the death because that's who they are. So anyway, Secretary Blinken and his rocking out. Let me think what else is going on. Over at my other law firm, today is the last day to register for the Iranian employment-based AP group lawsuit. And then we will be announcing within the next 2 weeks a group lawsuit for Iranian family-based applicants that are in AP. I know there are thousands of visa applicants in this situation that need resolution, not only because of the conflict in the Middle East, but because of what's coming in that forthcoming election. On January 20th, 2025, there's a very good chance that Donald Trump will be inaugurated again as the US president and will do the same thing he did last time, which is a presidential proclamation that prohibits the entry of Iranian immigrants into the U.S. Unless they have a waiver. And the waiver program is tied to the DS 5535. Does that sound familiar? So it will be a very bad situation if Trump is elected. I think it's great that Iranian applicants are at least informed and they are taking matters in their own hands and exploring litigation, mandamus lawsuits, and other legal challenges, even if it's not with me. There's other attorneys out there that do what I do. That's great. Just fight back. If you want something, fight for it. Okay. So I see I have questions. I also need to go to the post office today. So instead of me talking, I will switch to the questions, knock them out, and then I can go to the post office and serve some complaints that we have filed recently. If somebody wants to ask a question on screen, like join me backstage and then come on the screen and ask their question verbally, I I'm sharing the link to do that. I think it's going to show up on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm going to type here, link to join to ask question in person. Great. Riyadh says, thank you, Mr. Morrison, for the help and support in law we trust. Thank you, Riyadh. What a pleasant message. One of my favorites, Omar says, hello, Curtis. Hoping you had a nice day. I have had a good day. By the way, days go too fast. Yes, they do. I almost remember yesterday you were in live stream, not other language, your own live. I am always in live stream. I think I was born in a live stream, actually. I do a lot of live. Okay. Omar says, recently I checked some info about the Court of Appeals. Is it right that if 2 out of the 3 judges be on the same page, they can decide without going back to the third? And if that's right, if it's possible, we don't have a voice. Okay, that's a very good question. When 2 judges agree on a decision and the third judge does not disagree, that means the decision is what the 2 out of 3 agree with, and the third judge can write a dissent. Unfortunately, the first 2 judges cannot file their order until the third judge writes their dissent or waives their dissent, right? So there's been speculation that's actually what's happening right now. 2 of the judges agree, but the judge that does not agree has not yet authored their dissent. And also they have law clerks. So their law clerks have not authored their dissent. It's a lot of work. Okay, there were thousands of pages in Gomez and Good Luck of arguments made by plaintiffs and also by the government. And a good decision has to take into account the best, the relevant arguments made by both sides. It can't be just one page saying, I mean, it can be, but the Supreme Court would overturn that. It can't just be one page saying this side wins, that side doesn't. They will put their reasoning into the order, into the opinion. Okay. So there's a presumption, though, in what you wrote here, because you said, that's right. If it's possible, we don't have to voice. I think what you're saying is, oh, no, what if 2 of the 3 judges agree with the government and just we have one judge on our side and then it's over? It's possible that 2 judges agree with the government, but it's also possible that 2 judges agree with us. That's not so bad, is it? Also, and it happens sometimes, 2 judges will agree on one issue and a different 2 judges will agree on a different issue. Because remember, if you look back on the website, you see the statement of issues where the government actually filed with their appeal. These are the issues that the court needs to decide. There's like 5, a couple more, actually, maybe 7, if you consider all the appeals. It's possible that the judges will have different opinions on each of those issues. So it may be that the outcome of the Good Luck Gomez appeal is not simple. It may be complicated. Okay, we'll find out. DV 2021. Okay, the journeys for most DV 2021 selectees is over. The only journeys that continue are the ones protected by the Ray order or the Good Luck plaintiffs. Okay. Oh, there he is. Good Luck. He knew to add that in. So yes, Good Luck. We are waiting the outcome of the appeal. Anna says hello. Richelieu Louis Bantu says hello, sir. We are keeping hope alive until the very end. Well, that is great. That is what I recommend. That's what I do. Omar says, and they have to accept the expedite and moving for a decision right the way they approve, and they will give us their words. Judges have a lot of discretion. Okay, they don't have to explain everything they do, but I think the opinion on this matter will address the substantive arguments made by the parties. Okay. They may not explain their procedural, like whether or not they approve the expedite or not. I don't think they're going to respond to that. What I mean by that is either they speed up their decision or they don't. That's the response. There's not going to be an order on the motion, right? The government might respond, and who knows what they will do. Okay. Abdel Samad says, do you anticipate that appeal court will give decision after short or long period of time? DV 2020. I do not have an anticipation about that. It's like a rule in my life. I do not have expectation about that, about something I do not have control over. I can have a hope. Okay. I hope the decision is soon. Oh, yep. Remember, I shared that link. It showed up on Facebook and YouTube. So if you click on that link, you can join me on the screen and our audience can look at your pretty face. Hello. Ashraf says, Mr. Morrison, thank you so much for your efforts, but I'd like to ask you about your expectations on the appeal in the court for DB 2020. Okay, Ashraf, expectation is a word that implies that you have knowledge that can lead you to think something is going to happen. And I don't have that knowledge. And people that pretend to have that knowledge, I worry about them. I have a hope that the opinion from the appeals court is soon, but I do not have an expectation. Omar says, I mean, two voices for us, but I didn't know about the writing dissent. Yes, the person that does not agree with when it's a 3-judge panel, appeal panel, when there's a judge that doesn't agree with the other 2 judges, they still get to write their dissent. And what's interesting is those dissents are important because as the country evolves, sometimes there's a pendulum, right? Sometimes it's what's the thinking in the U.S. could be conservative one day, and then it gets more progressive and liberal, and then it gets more conservative, and it goes back and forth. And when the person that's losing today, they might be the hero of tomorrow, and they may build upon that dissent instead of on the order. And so, in other words, sometimes as lawyers, we cite the dissents in cases. Isn't that? I don't know. That's confusing. I don't even think I understand it. Okay. The question is the presidential election going to affect the Good Luck 2021 lawsuit? Okay. Great question. Here is how the election could affect the Good Luck Gomez situation. Right now, if the opinion came out, it would be up to the Biden administration whether or not to appeal that opinion. If it was a victory for us, for example. If Trump was president, it would be up to the Trump administration whether to appeal that opinion. Now, you may assume that Biden would not appeal and Trump would. But we have information that could lead us to the other conclusion too. Because if you go back to the original victory in injunctive relief from Judge Mehta for DB 2020 in early September of 2020, the Trump administration appealed that order, and then the Trump administration withdrew that appeal. Okay? So what Biden is fighting right now is to preserve Trump's anti-immigrant policies that Trump wasn't even fighting to preserve. You may ask how is that? Why is that? And I think the best way to understand it is Biden is not really controlling the State Department. The person that is controlling the State Department is that guy. So I hope that explains that. this is a question that is probably important, but I only know English. I'm embarrassed to say. Okay, Jim says DV 2020, awaiting since April 2020. What is the update for most Gomez costs? Okay, I've been talking about that the whole time, Jim, so rewind. Fernando says, how do you think the change in the FAM code describing 221G could or will affect new mandamus? Okay, that is an excellent question. Okay, for those that don't know, Secretary Blinken, his State Department, changed the Foreign Affairs Manual. Actually, I could share this, but I don't know if you'll be able to see it because it'll be really small. Before February 26th, the Foreign Affairs Manual said that a 221G decision is not a final determination, because a final determination is deferred until further clearance. Well, they don't like that argument because it's hurting them in lawsuits. They don't like that policy. So now they've taken that sentence out of the Foreign Affairs Manual. And also up here where it said procedures in cases deferred for advisory opinions, now it says just procedures in cases requiring an AO, meaning advisory opinion. They're not using the deferred word, because in litigation, the State Department is trying to pretend that a non-final 221G refusal is final. It is absurd, but that's what they're trying to pretend. And, you know, it's good to have stretch goals, I guess. I want to be younger. Maybe I can pull that off. I don't know. So anyway, the State Department wants to convince courts that a 221G temporary refusal that they issue 225,000 of them a year, they want to pretend like that is a final refusal. And so they're changing the game. They're changing the rules in the middle of the game. They're cheating. So how it will affect new cases, I don't know. It's just a dumb argument that they're going to continue to. They've been making this argument now for a while that a 221G refusal is a final refusal. In the Ninth Circuit, that has been rejected over and over. I'm flying to Sacramento to argue about it on Friday because the government continues to make this argument. It's a dumb argument. There's a case in the Ninth Circuit in California called Patel that that calls this dumb, and yet the government continues to still make it. So I think that the change in the Foreign Affairs Manual gives an opportunity for existing mandamus lawsuits, because we can show the judge that during the current lawsuit, they're changing the evidence, right? They're changing the rules. And I think that helps existing lawsuits. Under new lawsuits, it's going to continue to change. You know, they're going to continue to make dumb arguments. We're going to make good arguments. We're going to get immigrants in the U.S. whether they like it or not. Okay. Safi says, I'm from Algeria, DV 2021. Okay, Safi, the fact that you're from Algeria is not the only piece of information I need to know about your future related to DV 2021. I need to know if you were a good luck plaintiff. Okay. Boida Farid says, thank you, Mr. Morrison, for all that you do for DV 2020-2021. Thank you. You're welcome. Jarrito. It's a drink they drink in Mexico. It's good. Okay. When final decision? Anisha, you're not saying final decision in what? Okay. I have like 100 lawsuits pending right now. If you're talking about Good Luck Gomez, I don't know. Actually, I don't know on any lawsuit. That's not how litigation works. Federal judges have discretion over when they issue orders. Homer says, I just think about that why when we trying to avoid limbos, every time we reach to another limbo, after 5 years, I think we're grumbling time can't buy average is so big for them. I know it can feel like that, but life is like that. After you get through one thing, you've got another thing, but that's okay. I'm not saying that the delays that DVs are facing is okay, but that is the way life is. You get through one thing, you go through another. So this is not a surprise. Joab says 20 months. I'm not sure what he's talking about. He's probably talking about DV 2020 or 2021, and from my perspective, that's been going on for 6 years, because the 2020 selectees entered the DV lottery in September of 2018. But yes, 20 months for the appeal, probably. Okay. Boeda says, thank you, Mr. Morrison, for what you already said that. It's not justice. Well, no, it's not justice because we don't have an answer yet. But delays are not justice, right? Okay. Amini says, I'm a plaintiff for good luck. My case number is 64,000, but what's new for tribunal? All I've talked about for 20 minutes. So rewind and go back. There's nothing new, really. I mean, we're waiting. I've already talked about it. Okay. I moved to Canada while waiting for Gomez's decision. Okay. Congratulations. Canada is great. A little cold in the winter, but it's a great country. That could mean something. That could give you an advantage or a disadvantage, depending on where you were from. Once, if we win, and here's why. We know from the declarations that the government filed with Judge Mehta and Judge Chutkan about IT is the way the State Department handled this is they sent the cases to the embassies already, which is a little complicated because that means you may be in Canada, but your DV case is not in Canada. So how long it's going to take to change that interview location after we win the order, I don't know. May not be fast enough, right? So you may be at a disadvantage in that way. But then you might be an advantage if Canada, if the Montreal embassy is faster than where you came from. Crazy things. DV 2021 news, I already talked about that. You looking so young. I don't know. I didn't drink when I was younger, but then I did this lawsuit. So anyway, thank you for saying that. I needed to hear that today. I'm just going to be so happy now when I skip into the post office. So that's where I'm going. I'm going to go to the post office so I can serve our good friend. Here, he'll take us out. Secretary Blinken, I will keep him in thoughts. I sue him over and over and over, usually about 4 or 5 times a week now. It's my goal really to sue him more than once a day, just not there yet. So, okay, everybody take care. I'll see you next Wednesday for episode 79 of Let's Talk Immigration. Keep on rocking.